The Battlefield 6 open beta first weekend has just gotten started. Now, either you're in the early access and you've already been playing, or you're about to jump in this weekend. I have had some playtime today, and I have been having an absolute blast. I've been jumping through all the classes, all the specializations, taking a look at the weapons. And in this video today, I just want to give you some of my tips as someone who's played Battlefield for not since the actual year 1942, but since Battlefield 1942, and just give you a little bit of context on a lot of the new things that have come into the game, some really fun option menus that you can do that make a lot better sense for your gameplay. And in my typical fashion of upfronting the knowledge in my videos, honestly, it's a tips thing, so it's hard to give you all the breakdowns, but my biggest tip for you is to go into the options menu, go into gameplay, and tweak a lot of those settings. A lot of those settings are going to be varied depending on what type of first-person shooter you are. If you like Call of Duty, you might like certain settings to be a different way. That is the biggest thing from this entire video. The rest of it is going to be talking more about the ethos or the way that you approach Battlefield games, but just simply go into options, go into gameplay, and switch a lot of those settings, and it's going to vastly improve your enjoyment of Battlefield 6. That's kind of the too long didn't watch this entire video. If you want, you can jump ahead to any part of the video that interests you the most using the chapters, both the timeline and the description. But again, if that's all you wanted to know, please feel free to shut the video down. I want to be respectful of your time. So if you are sticking around though, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, as each one of those things helps me out in a huge way. And you can also find me streaming this game and as well as plenty of others on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Know that right now you can watch anyone on Twitch, not just me, and for 30 minutes, and you will have a chance to get an early access code that allows you to play Open Beta Weekend 1 and Open Beta Weekend 2, I believe. But you can find my Twitch linked below. Go ahead and give me a follow. Let's get started here on the best way to survive for beginners in Battlefield 6. So the first tip I want to get into is actually in the options screen. We're going to go ahead up here and press a little cog, and then we're going to go to gameplay. So there's a lot of really good stuff in this section, but two of the big standout ones I want to bring up are crouch toggle sprint and double tap crouch for sprint slide. By default, if you're sprinting in the game and you double tap crouch, your character will then sprint slide. I've shut this off, so now all I have to do is just press crouch and I will sprint slide. So whatever you want, it's going to be up to you, right? And then the crouch toggle sprint makes it so that when I'm crouching, if I were to sprint, by default, the game will stand up. Now, when it's set to crouch like this, if I sprint while crouching, I will be in a crouch sprint. Let's go ahead and go over here to game modes, firing range. So what this means is if I'm sprinting right now and I just tap C once, I'll slide. By default, I would have to double tap C. Don't have to do that now. Now, the other thing here is if I go to crouch, just press C, that locks me into crouch. I move forward, I'm moving forward. I hold down sprint, I'm now sprinting in crouch. Otherwise, the game will do this. If I come over here and I were to do like a sprint by default, it would go, oh, you want to sprint from crouch? It would do that. So this enables you to play around with a lot of different settings. And truly, there's a lot more in this section here too, like inverting all vertical looks. So you go to this and press modify. By default, your flight and aircraft stuff is set to on. So the vertical flight is inverted. So you can shut off individual pieces of it. It's actually pretty strong once you really get into it. So you have to really look at a lot of these things and toggle them to fit your specific play style, like interacting reload, mount breakout, landing roll, sprint door barge, vault over sprint, all that stuff is right here. So one of the big things that is always going to be contested with Battlefield is whether or not weapons should be locked to the classes. Now, there are game modes where that is the case, but right now you kind of have what I'm calling a soft lock. Every single one of the loadouts or the classes has specialties. So you can see right here a signature weapon for assault is assault rifle. Thusly, if I use assault rifles on assault, it's a faster draw and switch time plus a better sprint recovery. Or if I look at engineers, it's a improved hip fire for SMGs. Support has no speed penalty when I'm using machine guns. And lastly, recon has a stabilized aim by holding breath and rechamber quickly. These things all allow you to play whatever weapon you want on whatever class you want, but focusing on what that benefits that specific class allows for some, I guess, reward attached to it. Now, an additional tip to that is that every single class also has signature gadgets and traits. This enables you to kind of break the rules of each and every class. So for example, here with the engineer, they have flak jacket, decreases damage taken from explosives, and repair tool. They can use a blowtorch to repair things, as we know from previous ones. Well, we'll get into another tip of this later, but everyone can revive. But support, they can quick revive, faster drag and stationary revives, 20% speed, and a minus 0.5 second duration. So they revive people quicker, they can pull them faster. And assault here, soft landing reduces fall damage and no movement speed penalty after falling, whereas everyone else, they will fall and they'll just be kind of stunned for a little bit. And then everyone has their signature gadget that is locked to those specific classes. So know those things as well. It's not just simply the signature weapon, but it's also traits and gadgets that are going to help spice up that play style that you're trying to leverage with each and every one. Now, the weapon system in the game is really fun because you have very granular ways to attach things onto guns, which we know from pretty much any modern shooter nowadays. But the way that this works is almost like a lot of games have, where you've got some sort of currency. At the top here, you'll see attachment points. You have a max of 100 points you can spend on various attachments across the entire gun. So rather than it being locked to, say, a specific, oh, you can only have 4 attachments and a perk gets you 8 attachments like Call of Duty has or stuff like that, we now will spend points per component. So if I take a look over here, my linear compensator costs me 10 points, my flash harder costs me 10, or I could just do 0. And you can see up here the refund I'm going to get on that. Now I've got 65 of my 100 points invested, freeing me up to put more points, let's just say, on something like this, or getting a better ammo magazine up to like a fast mag, or a 36 round mag, stuff like that. So playing around with these attachment points is going to be really fun. I think it really seems like the game's gearing you towards, yeah, you can have something on everything and it's going to be fine and within quote unquote budget. It's when you want to push into like a lot of the crazier stuff within that socket. Like, oh, okay, well, 10's your default. You can probably just stay with that. Well, 20 is really going to get pricey here. And then you get different accessories that are going to be more cosmetic stuff, but you also get like canted reflex sights on here. You can get your, what are these things called? Laser pointer, laser sight, laser pointer. But you can do a whole bunch of different things that you can play around with these attachment sockets. Sticking around this subject matter, we've got 4 classes, right? Well, just as this is a bit of a holdover from Battlefield 2042, all 4 of these classes then have specializations. Now, in the beta, we only have access to what looks like just one of them, and they haven't really given us much information on the rest. But if I click support and click this right here, my field spec right now is combat medic. And if I click this, it shows me a little bit of information on the left here. But there's more details to this. When you're playing the game, you're going to notice it. So as it is, the combat considers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slots over here. In this location, we start off at level 0, so field sustainment. Distribute health packs to teammates when they directly interact with you, which they can interact and just get their health pack. Revive recovery, reviving down at teammates begins your health regeneration at level 1. Level 2, defense focus, improve stats for all defensive gadgets, and then eventually you become an aid station. So everyone will basically level up within the match. And it's just by point acquisition. So it's very quick to go from level 0 to the max level of any one of these specializations. It's probably like 1 or 2 deaths. It's very fast. But then you get a class active ability here, not to be confused with the class action lawsuit. Press 6 to act as a mobile supply bag for 10 seconds, revive teammates in 2.5 seconds. So this gives you a lot of really cool functionality within the constraints of your class. Support. Engineer here. Now they get power repair, so they can enable the repair tool to fix with enhanced efficiency. Or assault, combat simulator. Press 6 to highlight enemy sounds and reveal nearby enemies. You can basically just become a roving spotter. Or UAV call-in for sniper, so now they can call a UAV in directly. So this adds a lot of spice to the classes. Okay, well, maybe recon right now is a sniper, but eventually there could be one that's like uses carbines or something like that. Or support right now is a combat medic. Maybe there's a different one planned, so on and so forth. But these specializations are really going to change how you approach each class. So whenever you load into a match, you can press the Y button. And if you're familiar with stuff like Battlefield 2042, you could swap your stuff on the fly. And you can do that here, but it looks like you can only do it within a short amount of time after you load in. So if I want, I can go over here and I can switch off to different weapons that I have access to. I can modify the specific weapon I've got, whatever I want, before I really kind of like, okay, maybe come here. Let's actually put that on, just as an example here. This will do pig. That's fine right there. Okay, we like that. We're good. We're all right. And we come out of this, save and close. And now we have a laser pointer, right? Which you can turn off by pressing T, by the way. So that quick swap capability is really nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and move forward here and press Y again. I can't do it. So it's pretty much right after you spawn. If you like resurrecting people and playing medic and being support, then you're going to feel right at home with the support class, of course. But it's worth noting that every single player within a squad of 4 can resurrect each other. Of course, support will do it much faster and they'll be able to drag you quicker, but everyone else can do it. It'll be a longer process, but it's something that's worth noting. And I didn't even realize you could do it until a little bit further into my play session of the first day of the beta. So make sure you take advantage of this, especially if you're playing with your friends. You don't need to worry about one of your medic friends coming back. You can just go ahead and scoop someone up and bring them back to life. If you're new to the Battlefield series or you haven't played in a long time, the mini-map is crucial to finding information about what is going on around you. You're going to find people that have called out enemy vehicles, enemy aircraft, but most importantly, you're going to discover where the enemy is in correlation to yourself. It's hard to find a set line of battle in Battlefield 6. So what you really want to do is periodically be peeking at that mini-map to make sure that you can see people that are about to flank you, displace to maybe get someone that's about to come around a corner, all sorts of little context clues that are going to give you a better idea or a better impression and perspective of what's actually going on the battlefield. This is going to help keep you alive longer. It's going to help make sure that you can capture points, and it's going to also make sure that you can kill enemies before they get to you. So I like to main support. I enjoy playing medics. I've always enjoyed it in all the Battlefield games I've ever played. And it's really fun in this one. There's less of a charge up time with the defibrillators. You can also just drag people out of harm's way by, well, dragging them, which is a great feature that they've added in with Battlefield 6. But this is a Battlefield game. And one of the most annoying things about playing a support class is that a lot of people don't really let medics be medics. If they get killed, they get frustrated, they hold the button to just quick death and let themselves die. Hold the button that prevents you from bleeding out. The house gives people a chance. If someone's like 30 meters away, don't bother, unless you can see them beelining for you. But if someone's within 15 meters, give them a little bit of time to get to you. You have a respawn counter anyway. If you let yourself bleed out the appropriate amount of time, then your respawn counter is going to have ticked down during that time. So you're really not going to waste any time between holding down spacebar and respawning, waiting for the respawn counter, versus bleeding out, letting it go its whole entire way. You can hold down a button, of course, to slow the bleed out. But if you let it go its whole entire way, that's about the time it takes to respawn. So you're not getting up any faster. And remember, if a medic gets you up, it doesn't count against your death tickets. So it allows your team to stay in the fight for longer. Do not hold down the button to force a bleed out unless you absolutely have to. Now, another thing, if you're new to Battlefield, is understanding that there are, of course, directional damage when it comes to hitting a tank. You would think of a tank as split into 4 quadrants, right? Your front, your back, and your sides. Well, any damage to the top, sides, or the underneath, the undercarriage of the tank does vastly more damage. So if you are playing an engineer or you're using any of the emplaced missile turrets, then make sure you're aiming for those portions. And if you are going to shoot the side of a tank, try to aim for the back rear, or I'm sorry, well, the side rear of a tank rather than just simply straight on. Anything like that will help do the most damage that you can. It does seem that there's a glancing hit system in the game, but I haven't really been able to dissect it because you kind of pop in and out when you take those pot shots. So that is yet to be kind of fully discovered. And of course, this is the beta, so that'll all change. Now, when you play Battlefield 6, you have the capability to resupply from support classes. They can resupply your ammo, they can resupply your grenades, but they can also resupply your gadgets. So if you're playing an assault and you use the grenade launcher, standing in the range of any of those little dotted lines allows you to recover these things. And you can see down here in the corner, I'm going to blow this up for you. You can see how it shows a gauge of it recovering. You just have to stand in range. Previously in other Battlefield installments, you've stood in range and you hear like a click clack, click clack, click clack, and then like a larger click clack noise, and that means it's been replenished. You don't do that now. You actually see a visual representation. You just stay in the range long enough and it will replenish. But make sure you are taking advantage of this when you are playing in a class that is not support, so that you can get all of your gadgets back online, because that is what makes you such a distinct player within your class, right? Assault being able to launch those grenade launchers, or being a what is that thing called? Engineer, and having replenished rockets for your rocket launcher. Those are the things that make your class unique. So leverage those resupplies to get back in the game faster. Now, one of the most important tips, and this is why it's a tip here at the end, you're not playing Call of Duty. Your kill death ratio doesn't matter. You're not a major league gamer. You're not getting paid to play this game. Play the game exactly how you want. Fuck a meta. Who gives a shit about the best weapon? Who cares what class is the best? All you need to do is play the objective. Who gives a shit if you die a ton of times? It doesn't matter. What you need to be doing is, if you're support, you're getting people up, you're dropping med packs down, you're using your class ability to heal people up. If you're assault, you're pushing your objectives, you're using your grenade launcher to clear out pockets of things, or use your grenades for area denial. That's what you're supposed to do with assault. If you're playing an engineer, then you're shooting armor, you're shooting down aircraft, you're repairing armor, you are deploying mines, all the number of things. If you're recon, then you're spotting things, you're deploying UAVs, you're trying to help out by sniping people out from maybe hard points or other counter sniping, whatever it is. Play the objective and play what your class does. If you're playing a conquest, you need to capture those points. It doesn't matter if you have the highest amount of kills on the server as a sniper or as an assault. You could argue, though, that that's kind of the point of them having higher kills. But my ultimate point here is, if you don't push the objectives, you don't win. You can kill people, but if they're just getting resurrected by support and then they're pushing the objective and pushing you out, your death tickets are going to go down faster. You have to stay in that mindset. It's kind of why let medics be medics is kind of tandem with this. Let medics be medics by playing the role that you're supposed to play, and let people play their roles to support you. You'll find that if you do that, even if it's just yourself, right? I mean, yeah, it's a team of 32 people, but if everyone has the mentality of playing the objective, you will succeed. If half the people have the mentality to play the objective, you will not succeed. It doesn't take the whole entire team, but it takes a good percentage of it. So always make sure you are playing the objective, trying to move towards whatever things are, paying attention to squad leaders calling for capture points or defending points. You don't have to always be running around the map going for where the fighting is. You can hang out on objectives and get just as many points and be just as beneficial to the team, because you are making sure that they're not having to chase their tail, constantly going back to objectives to retake stuff. I can tell you that after playing so much Battlefield 6, or not 6, but Battlefield in my life, if you're just going from conquest to conquest point and just taking those over, and it's just getting back capped behind you, you're not really helping. But if you're sitting there holding it down with like 4 of your friends on comms, you're going to be more dedicated than 2 squads that are not on comms that are just throwing themselves at you just to grab a point, and you're holding it down. That allows the other team to go and get more points. It's hugely important, and it's also a lot of the fun of Battlefield. It's like playing PlanetSide 1, where you'd have inconsequential fights over a bridge that would then boil over into a situation where you'd be able to push something more important because you held that bridge. So hold points, have fun, enjoy it, but play the objective and really get the most out of Battlefield 6. But at that, it brings our video here to a close. So we've covered a lot of different topics, and there's a lot of things. Remember, this is a beta. Shit's going to change, but have fun, jump in, get wild with that beta experience. Play every single weapon, play every single class, try out different gadgets. There's no reason to establish a meta for yourself or a main or any of that crap. Maybe this is the way that like I said, I like to main quote unquote support because I just enjoy that play style. But play everything. It's really fun to see what they've done with this class system. It's been super awesome to see that they've finally listened and given us a lot of great things. Destructible environments, actual class systems, actual specializations for those class systems that feel like they have an impact in the game. It's been an awesome adventure. There's been a lot of shit that I don't like with the secure boot and stuff like that, so hopefully we'll get that figured out before the actual launch, but I'm beyond excited for Battlefield 6. So go ahead and let me know in the comment section below if you have some stuff that you've been able to jump into during this this like day or two early access of the beta, but I will see you on the battlefield. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.